Welcome to Table for Three, where three friends, three perspectives, and one table come together to talk all things reality TV and pop culture.
From the moments everybody's talking about to the conversations taking over the group chat, we're bringing our opinions, our hot takes, and maybe just a little bit of shade.
We won't always agree, and honestly, that's the fun part. So grab your drink, pull up a chair, and take your seat at the table for three. Okay, so this week we are picking up where we left off last week. Cynthia comes out, and Andy takes a few minutes to catch her up. Honestly, I kind of feel like with this episode, we truly see the division is Portia's couch versus K Michelle's couch. Drew asked Shamia about being friends with women in this group. So basically, Drew took what Kay said and tried to make it relate to this friend group. Shamia says, that's not what that was about. That was about my other friends. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
First of all, that's my face to start off with. Honestly, if you guys remember, I kept saying that this whole thing of like sometimes we feel like some of the ladies are like misplaced anger or misplaced, whatever it was. If you guys remember, like, how I was talking about, I'm like, Angela, that whole Angela thing, I mean, yeah, it didn't make sense. Like, Angela, why are you going hard? But going back to let me give like a little bit of like context to what prior to that, I'm like, okay, that also adds up to more of this whole back and forth that wasn't making any sense. Okay. And I honestly think it wasn't that deep for them to go that far. That's just one. But with Kay and Drew's situation, it's kind of like sad. And I can see where it could relate to the group and where it could relate to the ladies outside of the group as well. Because if you remember, when she kept saying, like, it was a plot to get her, whatever, technically, even viewers thought about Shamia being part of it, right? Because that's all, we could think of because no, but that's what I'm saying. Like that's what we thought. We thought Shamia was part of it.
I
But
didn't think
Kaylee,
that.
oh, I mean, I did because it was I did because I'm like she was the only one who was kind of like I would say in that moment I would say Shamia had been there for a little longer than Kay came in. So I'm like, okay, this whole thing with him and Portia race, I'm like, okay, is she like feeding Kay some information and blah blah blah? But come to find out that Kay was saying it was for other people. So when she did say she would do a better job not listening to more like the outside and not coming in to overreact versus like just living in the moment to understand what's going on.
Oh.
That's
Well,
my take.
I will say I thought K Michelle thought it was Portia because even with the oysters at the table,
She
I
did
feel
think
like
that.
Angela took it and tried to put it on to Shamia. I never
Again, that's what
thought
I'm
that
saying.
she did, though.
But that's
Yeah.
why again I'm saying like that's why I said like it looked like Shamia was the only one who was close enough to Kay at that time. And knowing that she was not getting along with the other group, automatically I'm thinking like, okay, are you feeding her some information? Like, are you giving her anything? Are you like low key? Which naturally people will do that. But looking at it now, kind of like getting more context, I don't think she was. Like Kay said herself, it was more like the outside voices, like people who were not there. But again, that's just my opinion. Oh
Right.
shit.
Yeah, I
Oh shit.
Okay, let me say this. Let me say
Go ahead.
this. Um the entire dynamic between K Michelle and Shamia shifting was very telling in so many ways. And even when we look back to what's currently being posted and love y'alls
Oof.
and all this that's coming from some people, I think it's still a little strange. But I will say this. I think that let's be honest here. K Michelle knew who Shamia was friends with.
Yes.
Shamia knew what she was doing, that her friends had beef with K Michelle. That is something that they should have talked about in trying to build a relationship and a friendship with each other. And because they glazed over it, we're here now. We're here now. I don't think they had to go in depth of what was, happening, but I think to at least acknowledge that, hey, I know that you have some, a ill past or a rocky past with my friends,
Mhm.
but I want to get to know you outside of that, and even just like having a common ground. And I think because they didn't do that, we're seeing this happen now. Um, as it relates to how Drew tried to manipulate and twist this around, and even Portia to make it seem like she was doing it to the group, I just felt like it was another Shamia dog pile that happened, because it wasn't necessarily towards his group. And even like K Michelle said, like, it wasn't towards the group, but even Portia chimed back in and was like, well, I feel like she used it towards the group. So I just think that it's another instance. And this is also partly Shamia fault. I'm gonna be honest
That's
with
it.
you.
That's
After I
that's a
watched this reunion, I said, Shamia, you just as bad as
that,
them.
that's all I've been saying
Because
along.
like you have, and I feel like I feel a little I feel a little crazy because my perspective shifts every time I watch something different, and it's just a lack of grown ass adults not communicating. And this how you get here. This is how we're here as it relates to Shamia, Portia, and this entire group. It's a lack of communication. But I know in reality TV is not about logic and trying to,
No, it's
be
not.
Mother
The
Teresa.
drama, we
It's
just
about
wanna
the
watch it.
drama. Exactly.
Yeah.
But at some point we have to be logical here. So that's kind of my stance on it.
No, and honestly, I agree because I mean, I was looking at some tweets on Twitter and all, and people said it's like, "Shamia, we're writing for you," but looking at it all right now, it's like, girl, you put a part in all these things that's happening. Everyone can be lying though. Yeah, you might not have done it on purpose or whatever, but it's like the things you did or said led to this point. So that's what you remember I said a few weeks ago. If you're gonna be hot, you're gonna be hot. Stand 10 toes
Yeah.
deep on what you're doing. But don't throw the tones and like, don't do that. You gotta be 10
Yeah.
toes deep on what you're doing. And I think if she did that, she would have had more people support her than ever. Because now people are kind of like pulling back and like taking back the support they gave her. One way or the other, Shamia, yes, she said certain things, moved a certain way. That is why this is happening. It's as simple.
Yeah. It's a goddamn roller coaster, and I am sick to my stomach right now. Just other ebbs and this ain't even ebbs and flows no more. This is the Typhoon Texas over Six Flags roller coaster that we are on right now with these ladies, because it's really just like it's just we twisting and turning. Every time we think we going up, we get to the top and they shoot us right back down. Like I'm yeah,
And,
yeah.
and also, you know what? I blame production as well because all these little
Oh hell
recording footage
yeah.
they're giving us is like you have people assuming and like you give these perspective, right? But why don't you just give us the on sim footage so we can actually say, okay, this is why this is making sense? And I think it was a part of what Angela was talking about. The reason why she and Shamia still kind of like go back and forth. And we said this. Of course, I don't think they showed the whole conversation. Anyway, it was just kind of like bits and pieces of it. But Angela was still upset about the whole situation. And it's okay. The conversation was had, and I believe as us friends right now, we can talk shit about whatever we want to talk about, right? And that's it. Shamia, Kelly, and Portia did talk about that at the pool, and it's fine. Yeah, I said that, but can it end over there if you've apologized? But it can't. So I'm like, okay, I can understand where Angela's coming from, and low key, this Shamia and Kelly kind of like saved Portia in the sense that since they were not getting along with Portia, they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna talk about that. So it was only the two of them talking about it. And Portia was like, I ain't got nothing to talk about anyway. So if you look around, you can see how or why Angela and Portia kind of like, get along more because at that point, there's no relationship between Shamia, Kelly, and Portia to even have
They're
that
an
kind of conversation.
alliance.
Yeah, there's none.
Yeah, I would say Portia's whole couch is an alliance. But before we get into that a little bit deeper, Willie, you brought up Logic and Typhoon, Texas. It was almost about to be a knockdown fight between K
When she got
Michelle
up,
and Mia. Yeah, so basically he says that her, K Michelle, and Shamia, they went to a dinner to catch up since Kay has been out like touring doing her music. The conversation got heated because Shamia was basically debunking things that K Michelle has been saying in the press. K Michelle didn't like it. She got all up in Shamia's face. One, I think Shamia needs to see uh K Michelle is not her friend, but I also did not like when Kelly just didn't come out and say that. Like, this lady is letting you live in in her house. She always has your
The
back.
landlord.
She needs you to speak
What?
up for her in this moment. She didn't say anything, and that
But
really
you know
hurt.
one thing I want to say before I forget? La After the first episode of the reunion aired, right? Shamia was, of course, doing the press tour, talking about how someone tried to fight her, and she was given so much information without saying much. Of course, what viewers were thinking, right? Was it Portia? Was it like it was just so? I'm like, Shamia, these are the things we're talking about. So if you're going to say this before the actual episode airs, you have people thinking that Portia was trying to fight you. You have other people
Well, she
thinking,
said at the reunion, so that could have very
yes.
well still been
Yeah, I thought
Portia.
it was Angela. I thought it was
So,
Angela. I
so you
didn't
see
Oh
how everyone is
God,
thinking about
everybody
different people.
confused.
So that's what I'm talking about. Like she creates all these scenarios and is like, girl, I'm like, we've been
But
trying to ride for you, but it just gives a whole different perspective. And I mean, just watching the episode where she was like, "Oh, Kim just up and did this." I'm like, so why is Kelly not saying anything? Like you
And
said,
I don't
like
even think so. Let me say this as it relates to Kelly, because I don't blame Kelly for not saying something. I'm not going to say it at all, because that is like if I'm sitting in between two friends that are fighting, I'm not going to jump in, because either friend, I'm going to do a disservice to either friend. Like, one person is going to think I'm taking up for the other. And it's a terrible place to be in. However, when they bring you into the conversation, then you can kind of tell the truth. And I feel like that's what Kelly
That's what
did. Kelly
Shamia
did.
did.
No, but
She
that's what
brought
I'm
her
saying.
into the conversation.
Kelly did what a friend would do, is that I'm not going to get in between both of y'all until my opinion is asked for, and then I'm going to
but
say the truth.
But
but
she didn't say anything, and I
before that,
feel
if you
like
guys
you can
remember,
hold your
right?
friends accountable, and this would have been a good time to do that.
But
If
before that,
K
before
Michelle did
Kelly,
get in her face, that's not right.
yeah, and before Kelly even said that, you remember she was trying to blame the other couch. Like she said, "Don't let the noise," and it was like it was a three or few ladies who went to the damn dinner. How did the other couch get involved?
Well, I think that noise was very, that was a,
Loud, without being
no, I
loud.
don't. I think people took it literal when she said that, meaning that if I know that these women that are sitting across from me don't want us to be friends, and they want this person to be on an island by themselves, I'm not going to give them the satisfaction in front of them. That's even like when back in earlier seasons when Nene and Cynthia fell out, right?
Mhm.
And Nene would be like, I'm not discussing my friendship with Cynthia in front of these women. That's kind of like the situation, because if they don't even give a damn that you're friends, I'm not going to sit here and dissect my friendship for people who want to see that they over there skinning and grinning on the inside. Like, I think that's what Kelly was trying to say in that moment. But we know
What
that
you
Kelly does not always land her plane correctly. Sometimes
exactly?
it is turbulence and it lands on its
From sometimes,
side. Maybe don't land at all. Maybe it's sliding to the airport. But I think that is what Kelly was trying to convey to them in that very moment.
yeah. I mean, I can see where you're coming from, but let's be honest. Kelly hasn't gone like loud with these ladies from the start of the episode,
But I
right?
respect that about Kelly. Let me tell you something. I respect that Kelly holds her own against these women.
Yes.
She do, and she be. And I know people think loud is always the
No.
best read and stuff like that. Kelly's reads that she been delivering, and she take them on one by one, and I be sitting and I'm like, this is why Kelly belongs here, because she will take them on one by one, versus Shamia. She get into a tizzy, and she look like
Which
she
is
about damn near
fine.
ready to cry. This is not the platform for that. You need to be able to
Yeah,
hold
I mean,
your
I
own.
do like that because, like we talked about, not being logical and it's just been like the drama. I do, right? But I mean, from the first episode we saw Kelly, it was like I feel like, I'm sorry, but she came in with like some sort of like, it's like you've watched the show so long, you're coming in this hot. I'm sorry, like, I don't think she came in like genuinely trying because, I mean, if you guys remember the first episode about that whole accent Portia about like, did you say that man? It was just like, okay, are you coming as a fan or are you coming in like as someone who's on the show? And her claim is the fact that what's called Portia said she didn't know it, but that was the question they asked her on was because she was doing an Amazon live and they asked her. She was like, she knows the other girl. She knows about the lady. She doesn't know it, but she knows she owns what's it called? Nana shaking her off, and I don't think that was a bad thing to say. She didn't know you, but that's what I mean. You can have a different opinion, but that's what she's always said. She's like, well, she
But
talked
can
about
we say this though? In 17 years
mm-hmm,
of Atlanta being in inception, is
mm-hmm,
it longer a read to say you're a fan? Because this is not a show that is only being, streamed in a different country that this person don't live in. This is
mm-hmm.
a global show. So
Well, and Kelly is in
anyone, I don't
Atlanta
care.
too.
But I
I'm
know, but
sorry.
I'm saying, but I'm going to the point. Kelly is in Atlanta,
Okay.
but I'm saying to the point of that this is not a show that is exclusively streamed in Dubai and they don't live in
You know,
Dubai
everybody
and
watches
now you
it.
join the
Social
cast.
media.
But I don't think that whole like you're a fan, that's not a read no more. Like y'all
No, I
have
don't
been here
think it's a
17
read.
years. It's
No,
kind of like because she used it as a read when she said like Phaedra co-signed with Portia about the sleeping pastor, and you're
oh,
co-signing with the same person that got you fired before. And Portia was like, "Oh, okay, fan, you've seen episodes." That was a major thing.
I mean, honestly, I'm gonna say a lot of them use things that we've known about these days, kind of like a read, and it didn't make no sense. Like
It's a
from
tired
what's going.
read.
I'm sorry. Oh, it is
It's a
like
tired
even
read, yeah.
even Pinky, Win case. I'm like, girl, we'll get to Pinky. Let me just shut
Now,
up before.
we
Yeah.
gonna get to Pinky because I got so much to say about Miss Pinky.
Yeah,
But come on.
that's our next person. Pinky, her package is playing.
Mm-mm-mm.
They
Mm,
bring up okay, Imma read it like how I wrote it in my notes.
go
Pinky
ahead.
says she's almost through her bankruptcy issues, and bankruptcy is a tool. Phaedra says she knows some Black people who invested $25 million into Pinky's restaurant. Pinky tries to give Phaedra a lesson. Phaedra tells her she don't need it. She knows about business and she's self-funded. Pinky then says, win a case, and then it goes from there. What are y'all's thoughts?
Will you want to go first on this one?
Woo, where do I start? Because let me tell you something.
Mm.
I fell in love with Pinky in this very moment even more. Because I think that Pinky made a very valid statement as it relates to bankruptcy being a tool. Because let's be honest, the Pilgrims do it all the time. They get a business. Hey, I ain't changing on what I said. The Pilgrims get these businesses, they run the bank
Oh my
loans
God.
into the ground, and they go file for bankruptcy and go open up another business. I saw nothing wrong with what Pinky was saying. However, comma, Pinky, 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 it takes a certain special kind of person to get little Miss Fei activated. When Fei was hopping up in her seat like that, I
You
said,
know she was about
"Oh,
to go.
Pinky done did what she was supposed to do. She done got Phaedra Parks activated."
Esquire
And
at
I
that
felt
point.
like, hello, Esquire. I feel like Pinky. I fell in love when I said, finally somebody gonna get Phaedra working. But I felt like they little spar back and forth.
No,
Now,
okay.
Phaedra did
See,
have some little sly moments in there. She had some sly moments, especially when she said her kids' dinner's bill was on her bankruptcy. I was.
but
And then she
that's
said
public knowledge
radioactive
though.
burgers.
Yeah. But okay, so let me go back. So I do understand where Pink was coming from, and I do understand where the other ladies were coming from as well, because not only Fader spoke about that, but the other ladies were trying to let her understand, like, and I think from Fader's point of view, it's like, if these African American people are investing your money, right, they are not the banks. These are individual investors. So if the banks lose money, they have insurance on these things, so they're also going to get their money back. For individual investors, they don't. Right? So I can see why she's trying to like make her understand, like, I get what you're saying, but don't make it sound so insensitive to other people who supported you being investors, because
But
the bank will always get the money back through insurance.
but can we say this?
Go ahead.
She hasn't been insensitive. We've
No, no,
seen
no.
this woman cry. No, I'm saying when I was watching it, when they were trying to say that she was being insensitive or lacking empathy. I
But
was kind of like, we've seen this woman cry every time she brings up her bankruptcy. Every time she brings up having to pay all these different things and protecting people, we saw her cry. It's not like she sat there stoically throughout the entire season, holler about bankruptcy, and then go buy a $25,000 Birkin bag. That's not what we saw from her. We saw her saying, I am literally fighting for my life to keep my business. And she's talking about these things. So I felt like when the other ladies were, and especially Cynthia, for Cynthia of all people to sit back with that cape on and that cat suit and to try to
Stop.
be very like judgmental in a sense, I felt like that was a perfect opportunity because Cynthia had been through bankruptcy a couple times, if I'm not mistaken.
But that's why she was. So I think that's what the whole point was. You on the show, you have a platform to educate people on all the sides of this, right? Yes, Pinky was only given one perspective of it, but I think what the others wanted her to say was like, listen, I had other people invest in me, right? And when she made the comment about, the other people had more investment, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna leave that particular one alone. I'm not even trying to get into it. But I think the whole point was, yes, she had an opportunity, right, to teach people to make them understand what is happening. Because a lot of people don't even know that the banks have insurance on the money they give us. They do. They
Yeah.
can get their money back. Individual investors will not get their money back. Yes, they know it's a business, they're gonna lose money. They get that part. But I think it's also unfair not being able to explain to people to understand exactly. So I mean, for the other ladies, I understood where they were coming from. It wasn't because they're kind of like, coming after or whatever, but she came in so hot, and maybe she's still
I felt
pregnant.
there
So
was
maybe
a tone. I felt like there was an underlying tone. Simone, what do you think? I feel like there was an underlying tone.
Yeah, so I'll say this. I think from the beginning, since Pinky came in, she's very direct and she's very, I said what I said, and she's strong and she does brag a lot. So they do try to make her seem like an angry black woman. When it comes to this bankruptcy thing, I do agree with her. But from my standpoint, I saw a tweet today that kind of made me change my mind. Basically, yes, investors, they do take a risk. But when your business goes under, your employees don't get paid. And that kind of took me back to why I was kind of mad that Pinky was on the show in the first place because she was not paying employees. And that was all in the news. Like, those are real things that happened. She was sued. So it kind of made me think of that again. But I mean, she has been crying about it. Everybody's been mad that that's all she been really talking about all this season, crying through bankruptcy. So,
and Simone. Yeah. No, I was gonna say you did bring a good point about employees as well. So this could have been an opportunity saying, you know what, this is happening to me. Now I gotta lay off my employees. Like they're not gonna get paid. So it's like that's what I think that a lot of these ladies were trying to make her understand. You have this. You need to make it bigger than what it is and not just focus on like this, but you're supposed to educate other people because I don't think other people have been thinking about the employees, being laid off and not having jobs right now. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they had to sue her to even get their money.
Mhm.
Like all that stuff was in the news.
But they
So
weren't really suing her though. But that's the crazy part.
it was just a
It's a
insane,
sham.
it's sad. Yeah, it's sad. Andy asked, well, a question came in about why she didn't ask her husband for the money. Basically, she said he already knew they end up doing the bankruptcy thing, and I don't know how I felt about that because if you my man and you always talk about you will provide this, if
He offered
5 million
to give
not
her the
that much.
money. He
Yeah,
offered
but
to give her the money, but do you think that she's gonna
I feel
take
like he
away
could've went and just paid it, like, just whatever, forget what she's saying because this whole thing being dragged through the mud is just
Simone?
insane.
Think for a second. If if I
For a
have
second.
my money over here and I'm going through bankruptcy and my partner or my significant other is going through bankruptcy and I have my funds over here and I know that when they put these funds over here, they're gonna be frozen, like because they can't do nothing right now. Do you think I'm gonna go give my money up? Hell
Well,
no,
then
because we
that's
need this money. We need
okay,
this money to
that
sustain
makes
our life.
that makes sense because I was just really trying to figure out why didn't
No,
your
she was
man.
protecting her. She was protecting her liquid cash, like in her. I understand that, like she was protecting that. That's why she said no, and that's why she said bankruptcy is a tool. People, let me tell you something. I don't know if y'all ever seen somebody that filed for bankruptcy, and we can slide on
I
from this after
have.
this. They come back out victorious, like a phoenix rising from the ashes after they file for bankruptcy. And I'm gonna tell you something. Listen, yeah, listen. I ain't mad at Pinky. I may lean towards that way in a couple of years. Not that I'm saying I got nothing to file for bankruptcy for, but
No.
you know, if I can do a reset button real quick on finances and credit scores and business, I would do it. So
Hold on.
I got what she was saying.
Do you have
Yeah.
investors or you have it from the bank?
I don't have nobody. It's me.
Oh,
I am the
self-funded?
investor. I'm self-funded, like Phaedra said. I'm self-funded. Ain't 20 years, but I'm self-funded over here.
But okay, you did bring up like that whole Phaedra, let's be honest. Once you file bankruptcy, these things are public knowledge, okay? So people are gonna see about all these things or pinkies, kids or whatever being that's public knowledge. But can we talk about the fact that they talk about a device, which low key I knew exactly what it was because my people were involved.
Oh, the whole yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, tell me if I'm wrong, but why do the new ladies feel a need to bring that device? Don't feel me.
I
I'm
don't.
trying to.
Mm.
Because they lie. Look what they did in season 9. The device was a recording device.
No,
No,
Right?
Simone.
baby.
No,
No,
no, baby, no.
she was talking about a pew pew. Like she was talking about that. That was
What?
the
Where did
device,
I
baby,
get
not
that from?
recording. It was a
Okay,
whole article
really?
that came out. No, they used the word device, but she was talking. That's why she kept saying, "I'm not a threat to anyone on the stage, baby." She wasn't talking about no recording device.
No.
She was talking about
Oh,
something that's
yeah.
gonna have your ass in the
Well,
ground.
then that definitely changes my
Okay,
answer. I don't know why Pinky would do that. Unless
but
maybe she's licensed to carry.
No,
I
but
mean,
still.
as somebody that is licensed to carry, I'm gonna say this. If y'all watching out here, I don't mean I would say this to people. But if somebody come up to me and I'd be like, hey, you might want to move around. Like I don't play them kind of games. You'll go on a t-shirt very quickly. I don't mean I'm gonna do it right then and there. I'm just telling you to take heed. Like I'm not about to fight you. You're going on a t-shirt. And I think but I also think we have to realize off of the heels of what happened last season with Britt
Season 16.
Edie, we have to be mindful. But I did not like, how Andy sat up there, and Andy is just so they need to get somebody else
His
to
bias is
host these
clear.
reunions.
Give
His
it to me.
bias is screaming because he
But
was like, I've known
also,
this lady for years, and if she wanted to do this was the same lady that was lying, talking about something like she got fired for making a accusation against
accusation.
someone.
Yeah, and also, like you just said, I mean, again, I hate it because we don't get like the whole context of everything. We just get bits and pieces. And even from where she said that to where from Pinky saying that like Andy was, I'm like, okay, it just didn't go well. I feel like it was cut up. Something was probably happened before he said that. It just did not feel,
Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, Simone, baby, it was not a recording device. It was not
no,
a
baby.
recording device.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was a recording device because, I
It was
mean,
a device
why
with
would
12 rounds in it.
I still don't see why she would need to bring it. Even what
I gotta
happened
go.
last
I
season,
can't.
I don't see the point of her, like, bringing it. But Meatgate, so they get down to the bottom of it. Kelly said it. We already knew, but Kelly said she didn't know Pinky had a special menu. So Shamia apologizes to Phaedra, which I did not like, but whatever.
Why?
Because, I mean, she didn't have to apologize. Just
I think we
remove
tired of Shamia apologizing. I think that's why
Okay,
she
say it that
didn't.
way.
any little thing Shamia apologizes for, but she apologized because they was playing a game of telephone and Shamia didn't hear it
Which
right.
I do think that apology was needed for that in particular because again we saw
Mhm.
how it was going all around, and even if we saw some of like the on-scene footage about this whole episode, I'm like, this whole so when they kind of like glance over this whole meat gate thing, I'm like,
But can we
really?
be honest?
Like
It
it's
wasn't
not
that
that big
damn
of a
deep.
deal.
It
It
wasn't that
wasn't.
deep. Like
It
they
wasn't.
have bigger fish to fry of things that have happened throughout the season besides a meat gate. Like, let's be very clear. They have so much other things they can discuss. What they need to be discussing is about how they brought up Angela trashing Portia in her confessionals, and Portia sat there quiet as a church mouse or a hoe
Do
in
you
church.
you
Like,
know what's crazy? I thought about it because I'm like, it was on Angela, and it's so I'm like, okay. again, now these is when I watch the show, I just be watching like the sequence of how the camera move because I'm like, they all trash each other in confessionals. That's a fact. But if you're gonna
Yeah,
bring
but
that up,
Angela said some things. Angela said some things about Portia that I would be upset about if I heard that from somebody who we buddy cack he and cackling it up in scenes, and then
so
when
pretty
you
much
get in
like a
front of your
confessional thug.
confessionals, you dragging me for filth. But when you're an alliance,
Yeah,
you
You gotta
you
'cause
fall
make
in
sure
line.
that
Angela
everybody's
is not
good.
over what Portia said. She's not over it.
No,
It's
but it's easier to be on her side and go
Mhm.
against Shamia.
Shamia set
Yeah,
herself up. I'm sorry.
But Angela is clicking down for me.
yeah.
Like,
You
I
know,
don't see it for Angela like that much more. And I
and
want
I
to
think
because I think that she could be amazing, but I don't see it for her
I
like
think that whole
at
first
all.
I think Portia made a statement about how, what is lacking is the fact that most of the times when they end the season, the winner is supposed to like solve every issue and then go back into the next season trying to rehash everything else. And I think this season was a lot of rehashing that was low key done in the tone stemming from the previous season. And I think that should have just been like, out the window because Shamia and Angela's because I literally said this to my best and I'm like, Shamia, Drew, and Angela are all Tauruses. Literally, their birthdays are like literally back to back to back. So for them not to get along is the most craziest thing ever.
Yeah, it's funny that Shamia is a tourist and that's her personality. That's what's
That's
crazy.
not us.
That I'm like, I ain't never met no tourists like that. Just oof.
Have you met me? That's not us. I don't know what she's doing. And I want to say this. I know we can be emotional in things. I get it. And I think she is still heading about this whole friendship with Portia, which we get is a grieving process. But girl,
Just
grieve.
fight at this point. Shit. I'm just go
No, I
backstage
don't
and
want
duke
them
it
to
out
fight.
and fight
I
like
don't
two
want them to
kangaroos in
fight.
Australia. Like I am just
They too old
tired.
to fight. They too old to be
No, they
fighting.
can't.
They don't need
The
to
bones
fight.
don't bone
They got
boning like it used to.
families. Shamia just need
And I don't
to
mean literally just
get
fight.
a
I don't mean
therapist.
that. I'm not
But you know
I'm
what's
not
crazy?
I'm not promoting violence. I'm saying in the
I know what you
terms
mean.
of
Like,
like settle it and move on. Portia clearly
They
does not
can't
want to
do
be your
that.
goddamn friend.
So
Shamia's
Shamia
acting
just
and
like a
needs to go to
child in
therapy.
kindergarten. She's acting like a child in kindergarten where the person that told you, give me back my goddamn crayons, and they done snatched it from you, and you over there crying, talking about, well, I just want a pink one. They said, no, baby. Move on.
and I want to
Yeah.
add to this. I saw a tweet from Lauren, Portia's sister, right? But I was like, what the hell? So she's basically talking about the fact that, people asking to watch an episode, blah, and she's like, she's not watching it because it's a show. Her sister's her sister in real life. So if she watches the episode, right, and her sister has gone back and forth with somebody, at the end of the day, so her sister has to go back to film with the ladies. So if her sister's cool with the people, that's cool. But she's not gonna be cool when she walks in, because like,
I think Lauren should shut up.
no, people are asking her to go fight, and she was like, she's not
I
doing
think
that.
Lauren should shut up.
But
Let's bring her on the cast and she could tell us why she's not with her baby daddy no more.
well, so I had to go back and figure out why she tweeted that episode. Tweeted that. But I realized Shamia's cousins were actually on there talking stuff about the other ladies, right? And they tagged her. Why is she not doing it? She was like, she's not doing it. I'm like, okay, I see where you're coming from. Because if the other people are talking trash, I mean, Shamia specifically, her family were the ones doing that. I mean, I was like, okay, yeah. Again, Shamia is gonna come back to you, and you're gonna look like, and she's gonna say, well, I didn't do it, my family did. But you have the chance to tell them, hey, listen, y'all. Just back it up. Let me handle this how I can handle it. Because like it looks like people are just fighting for it right now.
Yeah. I will
So I was
say
like,
a part that we skipped over since you said Shamia's family. Kay did say Shamia's mom called Portia a Jezebel just like her mama. And I said,
Can I say
well,
this?
that could be believable. I
But
feel
can I
like
say this? I want to talk about how southern this show is. Because out of
Mr.
every
Andy.
word, out of every word in the dictionary that can be used against you,
Jezebel.
they were the audible gasp when she said, calling her a Jezebel.
Jezebel.
Where everybody said, oh, I said that out of every word that is out here in the dictionary that they have called each other, MF is this, B's this, Jezebel is what takes y'all back. Like, come on.
But I
But
think
I thought it was a funny moment.
it is. And I think the reason is because like how kid described Shamia's mom like, the praying lady and all this stuff. Kind of like use. I was like, okay, I can see why that actually made.
That was so funny. I'm not gonna lie. I had to pause it because I was literally laughing so loud because I
Oh my god!
said,
I
out
was
of
like,
every word to be offended by, they are offended by
Jezebel.
Jezebel. You can tell they from the South, and you could tell most of them went to church because
They all did.
between Phaedra and Drew's response,
Not a Jezebel.
they were offended for Portia. That is hilarious.
But do you guys think it actually happened? I have my opinion about that.
I think it actually happened. It's just
Yeah.
fitting. And then the way that the story K. Michelle was like, yo, mama called her. The daddy called Portia's mom
Called
called Shamia's dad to come fix the pipe. I'm like, I could see that happening.
especially
Hello,
if they
Barbara. This
were.
is Shirley.
Oh,
That's
start
kind
up.
of what it reminded me of.
Well, let me say this. This would have happened years ago when they were all kind of like cool and all. Because I mean, again, I don't know. We don't know. We just had what happened. It could have been one of those moments where they're very cool and they're like, "Hey, can you come?" But again, I don't know the context of it. We're not there, so I don't want to speak and say it was maybe in that line. But again, you know how when we get upset, we try to throw things out that make it sound like. But I'm glad Andrew was like, let's take the mamas out of this because at this point, the mama
Please.
stuff ain't. Mm-mm. If y'all want the mamas, let them dress up in white suit, come sit down next to Andy, left and right, and let's go from there.
That's what he should have did, actually. The
Yeah.
mamas should have been seated for
Baby,
this reason.
it would have been lowbrow wigs all on that stage. But go on, let's slide on to the next thing
Oh,
that's
you fucking
happening.
Okay.
pussy.
Angela and Kelly, they get into it. Kelly said she didn't need to get pregnant to get a husband.
Oof, a
Angela,
read.
she gagged Angela. But I will say this, Willie, earlier you said Kelly reads hit. That's because all her reads are true.
And they're
Angela, she
natural.
pulls stuff up. What?
They're natural.
Yeah, they're natural. I don't know what I thought you said, but Angela, she just lies, and it does not land. And she got a lie to cover up another lie. She likes to play semantics. Then
Well,
Angela says she tried to befriend Shamia, and Shamia called her messy. What y'all think?
so that's what I'm saying. The whole context about the whole thing being missing from though, because we just see. And I wish they could have given us much more time to like, because even though after it just being messy, whatever I think there was more to it than just the thing just being messy. I think there was more. And again, I would say this. Angela said multiple times that the reason why she kept going is because the fact that Shamia's interviews were always something, and she is kind of like it's a build up.
But
So,
if we go back to the whole mess of it all,
mhm.
Angela did in fact go back and tell Portia what Shamia was kind of semi-confiding in her about it for some drama. Like, I think we can't skip over that.
No,
And if somebody
absolutely not.
calling you messy offends you to the degree where you do have the crap that Angela's done, I mean, if the shoe fits, you better lace that up.
Yeah,
Okay?
it's kind of like I said last week. Angela saw an opening to kind
And
of
she took it, and she never
disrupt the
she
friendship,
She
run through it.
and
ran.
she ran with
Yeah,
it.
so exactly, that's what happened. She saw it and she said, "This is me. I'm not gonna stop."
Yeah.
And again, if Shamia would have been like, you wanna go there? Let's go, like, go toe for toe, then you do that, but don't be like, "Girl, this is not an arcade, okay? We're not playing games in the arcade. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
We got we mm-mm." And, you know, one thing, like, you said before I forget, Kelly. I love Kelly. I think she's like a great addition, but I want it to be more of like because I don't. It's like when sometimes when I'm like Kelly, it's not. Can we be on like the right track? Because sometimes what she's saying or trying to say is making sense and it will, but it's like it just goes all around. Like you said, she can't land the plane. It just be everywhere,
Yeah.
and I'm like, girl, come back home.
I
This
agree.
is this is this is literally what's it called? The 10th. But yeah, no, but yeah. They didn't warm me out. This episode was a lot in one.
And it
It
was
was.
chaotic. Everybody was yelling over each other too. It was a lot.
Yeah.
Shamia, so they talk about the George of it all and how Angela said basically is getting Shamia.
When
fired
Drew
from
said she
her
was
job.
vindicted,
Mhm.
honestly, that whole thing was just, again, game of telephone, right? And it was just, and again, we did see Angela asking Shamia if she did sleep with George. Okay, we did hear that part, right? But again, it's so much happening that if I'm being in the hot seat, all I can remember is the fact I slept with somebody's, so that's what I'm gonna go with, right? But again, but that's when it happens where, third parties also kind of like get him on the show on because it honestly, that beef with George and Ash or whatever, I'm sorry, but it did not make sense. Because again, like I said, I've said it before, as a married man, he should not make that joke, right? Because now the person's actually, like we just said, the door was open and Angela found an opportunity. So it's like, if you given such information out, oh, she's going with that. She's not going to hold back. And I think it was unfair for Shamia. I think George should have actually apologized to Shamia for that. I think he should have. Yeah.
Willie.
I don't have nothing to offer here. I am so tired of Angela and the semantics of it all.
The
I'm
neighbors.
tired of Shamia just not knowing how to advocate for herself and show these. Like, Shamia be having so many avenues to prove that these women are lying, especially Angela. And I don't know what be going on up there in that brain.
Okay. Andy makes Shamia apologize to Angela, and then he asks Angela if she wants to apologize to Shamia. Then we get to Portia, right?
Oh,
Portia,
Lord.
they go on break. Portia tells Drew that she took a lie detector test, which I thought was crazy because didn't Lisa Vanderpump do this? One, and then two, just because you passed a lie detector test don't mean you're not lying. What are y'all's
Well,
thoughts?
Phaedra said it best. That's what I'm gonna say. Phaedra said it best, and I'm gonna leave it like that. That was Phaedra said it best. That's it.
I'm going to second that.
Okay. Last thing that they talk about, the married man.
Oh, Lord.
Kelly basically tells Phaedra she did not like that. As a friend and a client, she didn't come to her and ask about it. She just co-signed Portia's lie.
A free
She
client?
did. Uh,
Yeah, that's still her client though.
Hold on.
Wait, he said free. He said free client.
No, hold on. He was trashing Phaedra before the readings. I'm like a free client at that point.
Well, I'm going to say this. I understood what Kelly was saying.
Yeah.
I understood what Phaedra was saying. But
Hmm.
I also think, to Kelly's point, Phaedra did co-sign it. Because when they was at that dinner at Phaedra's house,
And just
and
kind of
she
like
said, and you do know him, and Phaedra said,
and
I
just walked
know him.
away out of it.
And it was
And she
kind of
walked away.
like, and then probably in Phaedra's mind, she probably wasn't thinking that she was co-signing. She probably was
Yeah,
like,
and she's
I
just,
know who
yeah,
you're talking
we were
about.
talking about, and let me just,
But it didn't
it
land
didn't
that
have,
way.
yeah.
I do want to say that I was doing a little research and I'm doing a little rabbit hole. And the name that they were blurring out about, Kelly said, well, let's talk about why you really have a problem with me.
We gonna play it out too.
And if what I read is true,
They were dating the same guy allegedly, right?
yeah. Yeah, but do you know who said guy is?
I didn't know the guy.
Say it. We gonna name him. Name him. Name him.
We've heard of him.
Very much so.
Yeah, I think, yeah, name him. And we're gonna play it out too.
Does
Cause she
yours
said
start with the R?
Kelly?
Yeah, does yours start with the R, Kabute?
Our Kelly? Oh, fuck. He's
Wait,
my
R.
first.
Kelly.
that's
Oh
who it
no,
is.
Jesus. No.
Okay,
From what
go
I
ahead.
was reading, uh, and I'm gonna just quote her when she say ask Ricky Smiley. And from my understanding, that is who they are talking about.
Yuck.
Because yuck! From my understanding, it is Ricky Smiley based on what I was reading and based on the live that Claudia kind of did. I'm gonna say allegedly, it is Ricky Smiley.
Not the girls
Um,
fighting over him, please.
Yeah, apparently that's who they were both dating.
That makes me sad to hear.
So yeah, apparently it's him. Ask Ricky Smiley.
That's so funny because he's like he remind me of an old black grandpa, and he is a grandpa.
He in fact is. He is.
I didn't even think about, but I mean, he got money, so okay.
That's
Mm.
what they're saying. Apparently, Claudia, she did was some soundbite was saying that's when she lost respect for Portia when she saw how Portia was playing him, and that's supposed to be her friend. Hey,
But can we say
But
this though? I don't know. I love me some Claudia. Okay, I love her, but I think at this point, we all know you don't like Portia and all the Atlanta stuff. Like, I think just leave it alone. Because
but
now
I
even though she might be doing like a whole like it's a show and thing she does, at some point it starts to look like it's a vendetta against someone. And you could be
so
right. She didn't like the way Portia treated, said name or whatever. I can get that part
so what would
because
be the
I.
difference between Claudia
Mm-hmm.
and two pods in a T or whatever they call
Now
themselves?
y'all
two
know
peas
them.
in a pod.
Hold on, y'all am about to say that? Can we blend this out?
What?
What?
What am I about to say?
Insert blurb here. Okay. What is happening?
Y'all know those are some two party heifers, and they're just gonna do any and everything. Just say like, come on now, y'all know. Y'all know they can get by with these things. We cannot.
Well, we don't get by because we try to hold our own other people accountable for it. But I do think that Real Housewives of Atlanta is a cultural phenomenon, and I think that
Mm.
if she is on somewhere and they're asking her about it, regardless if she was on the season for 20 years, 2 years, or 20 seconds, I think that she can give her opinion on it.
I don't mind the opinion at all, but it has to be. You know how we talk about we sometimes we have perspective. We give all, but heads doesn't always. It's always kind of like it's like we get it. You don't like it. We get it.
Yeah,
We don't need we give
I
perspective. We
understand.
don't you know. I mean, like Shamia, we've all and I've always said Shamia was playing, and y'all just what that is true, but it doesn't come off like it comes off some I don't know. That's their problem anyway.
Mm.
Mm,
Well,
Final thoughts for this episode? What would
a
you
lot.
rate it?
I'll give
So
it a
what
9.
rating?
I'm gonna give it a 9. It was a lot going on.
Mhm.
And like Willie said, Cynthia came with her catsuit, with her cape, I said, okay, with her little song, yeah. I cannot.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5. It would have been a 9, but that over talking and screaming that was happening, and you lost me. So eight and
It
a
was too much.
half.
Okay.
Yeah, I think for
One.
me, that's why I gave it a 6. It was just a
Damn.
Oh,
lot.
damn.
Well, I'm only giving it a 6 because it was very chaotic. They were talking over and yelling over each other a lot. So,
Yeah.
um, I don't hopefully they get to some sort of resolution, and I did not really like how Portia's couch I feel like they was all jumping on Shamia too much. I didn't like that, but
Again, Shamia, we ain't gonna lie. Shamia has at this point, if I know, and that's someone actually made a good point saying that she doesn't think that whole dinner that went before the reunion was only to talk about their issue, but it sounded like trying to like rebuild the alliance, and it did not work well in their favor.
mm, well, all I could say is let's just say this is the Real Housewives. If me and you getting into it, Willie don't need to pipe in talk about you fried chicken in Shamia house. No, let us have our argument. You don't need to jump in.
Oh, and that's what I think
So
it started getting.
that's the thing that I did not like, which is
And I
why.
didn't like towards the end about Portia, Shamia, all of them jumping. I said, okay, this is gonna be a fucking shit show. I didn't like that because now we have other news coming out right now. Allegedly, Shamia was out there with someone's husband. Oh, can we not go there again? Can
Yeah,
we not?
Portia did say that. I just
I don't
like
like
let it
that.
go. It's tired.
No, it
Every
is hard, but
it's
at the
tired.
same time, let's check this out. Okay, looking at how everything has played this whole season, right? let's say I'm not fucking with you, you're not fucking with me. At this point, it's like we going for it. I'm gonna start saying whether it's true or not. We gonna start saying stuff, and I don't like it because now it's like, okay, you guys do not want to come to a resolve. It's gonna be so. At this point, they just saying any and everything to get at each other. That's all that's happening.
Yeah. And I think to your
And
point, and that really puts the lid on it. We're 2 parts in and there's no resolve.
mm,
There's no
and they
resolve
say they're going to hell,
on any street.
the streets of hell, like they said. Portia
It's
says,
just
so I don't
this is Typhoon, Texas. Like we just roller coastering this around. But yeah, there's no resolve. So I'm interested to see what part 3 brings. But I want them to stop doing these press interviews, hyping this up, and this
know.
gave old Atlanta. It did not.
Where,
It
where
gave something, but
chaos,
it wasn't old Atlanta. So
chaos.
yeah, I think this is a good place to put a pin in it. As always, thank you all for tuning in for another episode of the Table for 3 podcast. We'll see y'all next time. Deuces.